Hey team, it's Kurt from Seattle, Washington, headquarters for Travis Industries, and we're having kind of a rainy day. What's going on back in Connecticut?
Well, today it's about 85 degrees and 90% humidity here.
And I see you've got that lovely fireplace burning behind you.
Yeah, I think I'm being punished.
You're dedicated. You know, it's been an amazing 4 decades in this industry. And it's amazing how fast the time goes. But if you think back at how we got started, you did not have that big, beautiful store you have today.
Oh my God. 100 square feet. I'll never forget it. And I was barely able to fit 5 stoves in that thing, and you couldn't move.
100 square feet. That's 10 by 10.
That's it. 10 by 20 by 20.
When I started the Lopi stove company, I rented a space. It was 14 foot wide. 14 foot wide, 12 foot deep. Had a sign over it said Lopi International. I had big plans for that little word 40 years ago.
Incredible.
Here we are today doing business together from different sides of the country. And the thing is, we love what we do. We haven't lost that in 40 years. In fact, it's gotten stronger.
Never back then did I think we would be where we are today. Not only in size, but the types of products that you and your company have been able to come up with are really incredible. So much that people they come in and they're just so surprised when they see a wood fire, for instance, burning with absolutely clear glass.
You're absolutely right. When we started, we were just primarily focused on heat. There was an energy embargo going on in the 70s, and everyone was worried about energy independence, and we just wanted heat. There was no thought to emissions or efficiency. It's just the bigger the log, the more heat we get, an overnight burn. Those were our concerns 40 years ago. Today, these wood stoves still take large fire logs, but the glass stays clean, the emissions are pretty much eliminated, and the burn times are enhanced. So we've got a real efficient heater today. That's quite a surprise when people come in and look at a burning model in your store. It's quite a different animal.
Well, I remember, Kurt, when it was back in the 90s, back in Bedford, New Hampshire, at one of your meetings back then. And I remember you telling the group of people, and we had maybe 25 people there, dealers, and you said, I'm going to build a company. I'm going to have so many products, you're not going to have enough room to fit them all on the floor. Now, I have about 18,000 square feet of showroom, and I don't have enough room to put all your products on the floor. You keep coming up with new designs. How do you do that? Well,
we're running out of space here also in Washington State. In fact, our factory now is 11 acres indoors.
That's incredible.
It's amazing. We have about 550 craftsmen working here. And we started out, there was 2 of us, and literally in a garage in Washington when we started. And one good thing begets another. And Dean, you've been such an integral part of our growth and our development. You're so hands-on with these products. You know what your customers need, what they want. And we listened to this over the years. We listened to that, and that's not changed. A lot has changed, but that one element of listening to the customer and responding with a creative product is really how it happens today. The wood stoves, the gas stoves, the pellet stoves of today are the most remarkable appliances we've ever made.
Now, you look at, for instance, your hybrid technology that you came out with in 2011 that still baffles people's minds. Now, you just made that even better and improved that. You keep yourself above the curve from all these other companies. How do you come up with these ideas? Do you sleep at night?
We don't. We don't. And what's interesting is our engineering department, our research department, we call it, I borrowed this phrase from Walt Disney, we call it Imagineering. And at times we'll sit down, we'll close the door, and we'll say, okay, what if what we know wasn't true? And we can imagine the greatest product. What would we want that product to be? We start coming off the checklist of things you've told us your customers want. The guys in Chicago tell us what they want. And we picture these products. Then we go about, well, if we're going to do that, no one's done it before. How would you go about it? Do it. So one item at a time, you start coming up with suggestions. And there are people that are engineers in the room. There are people that are electronics engineers. There are people that are fabricators. There are people that are the retail world. And we just come up with a scope, an idea of what we want. Then we set about solving all those problems. And it's been 40 years of that process that has not changed. And it's like the burning question for us is, how can we do it better? And we keep evolving, bringing emissions down, bringing efficiencies up, and the contact points where the consumer interface with our product, the feel, the touch is just, it's like a Mercedes-Benz. When you close that door, it's got a snick factor to it. When you move an air control, it's got this positive sensation that you really understand and you feel what you're doing. So those are things that are very visceral about our products, that you not only seeing a product and you're feeling the heat, but you're interacting with it and you can feel that quality we build into it.
Well, as a dealer from way back, when one of the things that I found different about your company, and one thing that we still like today, is that you listen to what we want instead of telling us what we're going to sell. And that is something that nobody else in this industry does as good as Travis Industries. And I feel that is a big part of your success and your modesty, and the fact that all your people, not just you, but all the people. I've been to that factory many times, an incredible place, but the people you have at Travis Industries are just as incredible. And I've always liked American-made companies. How do you keep yourself above the curve when, like, everybody else went to other countries, which I won't name, but I think everyone can kind of guess what I'm talking about, where they went for price, yet you've been able to achieve that efficiency for price, yet give quality that is unmatched in the industry?
We have a passion for making things. You know, it's not just designing things, it's actually making them. So here we are up in Washington State, in the corner of the United States, probably the worst possible place to situate a factory. It's not central to anything. So what we have to do is be very clever. How do we design things and put features in products and be cost effective and be competitive price-wise to the consumer with things made in Asia or things made in Mexico? We're an American manufacturer, and that's the challenge. But you know what? We've got so many good people here that love the challenge. And so here we are, 41 years into this endeavor, and it's a journey. It's not this. We have these goals we set out. As soon as we accomplish something, Dean, we're on to the next one. When we started, we had a welding machine and a grinder and a paint booth. And now we still hand fit everything. We still hand finish everything, but there's a lot of automation centers in the factory, and people going, gee, doesn't automation take away jobs? But we've been doing nothing but hiring since we started. So, and right now, we're on the next generation. We've been doing this long enough that we've got the children of the original people all working here, working in marketing, working in the factory, working in repping, working in sales. That we're on to a whole new generation of stove builders. They may come in the door as a welder, they may come in the door as a painter, but they become stove builders when they're here. They become craftsmen. And the greatest thing you'll see, you'll experience on the tour of our factory is talking to the people that make these products. The passion is at that level. The pride and the passion of making something in America and making it extremely well. You'll see it and feel it in every workstation in this factory.
And that is a huge point that I think people are coming back to, is not only having the passion in that, you feel good every day you walk into your place and you have that passion, you feel so proud of where you work. That American craftsmanship is just unmatched. I wish people would see the robotic welding and the plasma cutters. And you have how many lasers? The machineries it just keeps getting better and better. I don't know how you do it.
Well, the technology in metal fabrication keeps advancing. We've installed some fiber optics lasers, and they transmit the message so rapidly to the metal, and the precision is so accurate. We're plus or minus a few thousandths of an inch in what the lasers cut, but it's doing it at 1,200 inches per minute. This is how we can compete with things offshore. We invest in technology in certain labor-intensive stations or processes, so we get perfect parts that will go together, and we can be real efficient in the manufacturing and assembly of these wood stoves, gas stoves, fireplace inserts. And the thing about this that's so fun, Dean, is we get to work with fire every day. I know you feel the same thing. That's our livelihood. We get paid to play with fire.
That's
and it's a wonderful thing, and you can tell when you come here and meet everybody, everyone loves it. There's one thing, we've coined a term here, and what it is we've got what we call a servant's heart. That means we get personal satisfaction of making other people happy. Some people get satisfaction of financial goals or winning a game. Our whole crew, everyone that works here gets a big kick out of seeing people's pleasure when they buy their product, or hearing the stories about he's saving money on his heat bill, or coming to your store, meeting your employees, and they're so excited about selling our products. That's the stuff that really moves us to design things and to run the kind of company we run. It's that a real kick out of seeing other people excited and happy with what we do.
And that's a great point, because so many people think in terms of investment today, right? And that's one thing that we tell all of our people coming in, is not only are these the finest looking fires, the most efficient when it comes to wood burning, but they pay for themselves. And this is why it's hard to sell anything else but a Travis product, because it not only looks the best, it's the safest, it's the best built, the most durable, but it pays for itself. So, I mean, it's just a win-win situation. And to have an American company filled with people who are proud of their craftsmanship is just incredible.
One thing we've been talking about this factory, we've been talking the products, but we couldn't do it without you. And it's that frontline communication with your customers, and you've trained your staff. Everyone there is such an expert at representing the products that you guys listen also. You listen to the customer and you go, how can I help you? That you're not there to sell them something, you're there to help them. And you guys do a great job listening. I've been in your store a dozen times, and I'm amazed at how your people react to the person coming in the door, and how quickly you get to understand what their needs are, what their desires are, and then you solve them with the right product, the right size product. And you've been able to build your business because of that real interest in your consumers' happiness. So I've seen it over and over, and that's what makes your company stand out, is that you guys put the customer first.
Well, you have to, in order to be successful with consumers, you have to listen to them first, right? And again, we both, I think, feed off each other, and we're more than happy to do that. As far as the durability goes with consumers, the fireplace that's behind me right now is about 16 years old. And look at it. I mean, and that's a fire, that's 16-year-old technology, and it's even better today.
Yeah, we build these things. There's no planned obsolescence. We build these things to last. When you're building them in your home, we're building them to last your lifetime. I still build parts for every product I've made since we started, because there's no planned obsolescence. These products are designed to last. We have advances in emissions reduction, in efficiency, so the new products are quite different than the old ones, but if you've got one built in, you take the time to make that investment, we make sure it's going to last. It's something we say, hey, your kids are going to love that stove they grew up with. It's still great when they're adults. And that's what we've been doing now, 40 years of making products. You know, Dean, we were such small companies, your company, my company.
Yeah, yeah.
And together we've been part of this process where we've done over 1.5 million homes in the United States. We've put fireplaces or stoves in over 1.5 million homes. That's a lot of saving money. That's a lot of warm evenings. That's a lot of families gathering around a fire. And it's so cool to be part of that.
It really is. And the nice part about it is, as much as we've done, there's so much more to go. With all this new technology, it's just getting the word out, because our industry, as you know, generally doesn't do a great job of letting the basic public know what products we have available to them. And that's where we come in, we're different. We're a much smaller part, but on that upper echelon of products that once people have them, they'll never put anything else in their house but a Travis made product. You can't go any higher than that. Not in terms of quality, not in terms of aesthetics. And we're more than happy. We're so glad that I met up with you back 40 years ago. So it's been a win-win situation.
We were a couple of young guys trying to figure it out, weren't we?
Well, I had color in my hair too.
I had hair.
Which you lost one day in a bet, didn't you?
Yeah, I'm at your store, and I bet your salesman something silly. They took me up on the bet. The bet was they could accomplish something, a goal, and they go, "What are you betting?" They said, "Can we give you a haircut?" I go, "Sure," because I know you guys can't do it. I left there with my head shaved. Come back to Seattle, I had 0 hair on my head. You guys got to shave my head because they accomplished what I thought was an impossible goal. And let me tell you, my wife still talks about it. She goes, "You're not allowed to go to Jesus." Yeah, we're a little irreverent. We're silly about ourselves. We take this business and our customers' needs very seriously. We have a great time doing this. And we sure can laugh at ourselves and have fun with each other. And it's been a great friendship, not just a business relationship, that's evolved now over the decades.
Now, with all this new EPA technology that a lot of people may have forgotten about because of the COVID-19 virus and everything else, there's all these new regulations that came out for wood and pellet burning. Yet you started on this way ahead of everybody else. Again, I don't know what crystal ball you have to see this stuff coming, but tell me a little bit about the lineup now that apparently you got new products that are ready to come out to us.
They're in production, they're in inventory, and these are the most efficient wood burning or pellet burning products we've ever built. These are the easiest ones to use. Over the decades, sometimes when you get a complex goal of emissions reduction, the unit gets too complex. It's difficult to operate correctly. These are the easiest stoves to operate. The glass stays the cleanest. We've got long overnight burns. You got a wide BTU range. This new standard that we saw coming several years ago, we thought we didn't know how to solve the issues, what EPA was asking for. We did not. No one had ever gotten stoves to burn that clean. So it was a challenge, but we saw it coming. And before it became law, we go, this might happen, let's get busy. And we put our shoulder into it. We put thousands of man hours in experimenting on how to reduce emissions, increase and improve efficiencies, and still have all the things you want in a fireplace or a wood stove or an insert. You want a big viewing area, you want an overnight burn, and you want to be able to control the fire. Some of the stoves that met these new tough standards, they threw the air controls out. They had one sweet spot where the stove burned cleanly, and that's all there is. And people want a low fire on a cool day. You want a hot fire on a cold day. You got to have that range of control. So these new products we came out with that are just available this year for 2019 and 2020, all these products have been 2.5 years in the making, and they're the best products we've ever made.
And this is that new gen technology for wood burning, I think you call it?
We call it the next generation. And everything we've learned over the last 40 years about wood combustion is embodied in what we call this next generation. And it's non-catalytic. It's a single air control. We've got a tremendous BTU range, meaning you can get a low fire and you can get a high fire if you need it. A lot of that went away with this new EPA standard. A lot of manufacturers couldn't figure out how to do it. Another thing, Dean, that we decided to do, the EPA gave us the option of using cordwood during the test or dimensional lumber. We thought, well, cordwood is a variable that you can't really count on, so you really have to have a robust heating system to handle all the variety and variables in cordwood. But that's what people burn. So we designed this entire line of new heaters around the cordwood standard, which was a whole new threshold of emissions reduction, and we did it. We've got the greatest numbers, we've got the greatest stoves, and we did it with the fuel people are going to use in their own homes, rather than dimensional lumber.
So the emissions figures that you have on your wood burners, you would say are more realistic figures than in years past.
Well, everyone in years past, as standards developed over time, they were using a 4x4 or a combination of 4x4s and 2x4s of a certain species of wood, kiln dried to a certain level. So everyone had as uniform a fuel as we could identify, because you're burning solid fuel, okay? But that wasn't realistic. People don't burn beautiful Doug fir that's got 14% moisture content. So over time, as the EPA looked at emission standards and how we're affecting neighborhoods and communities, they're going, gee, if we could add cordwood burning and monitor the test with cordwood, that'd be more realistic. That'd be closer to what we're going to experience in the field, in the homes across America. So, boy, all the guys in the science side of the business goes, how do we do this? We have no idea. We've spent all these years developing products that burned what we call an EPA log, a dimensional piece of fuel. So it was a lot of research, a lot of trial and error to come up with stoves that in the laboratory tested as well as we hoped they would. But again, now we've got a line of stoves that these stoves do exactly what you do in your house. You're burning the fuels that America burns, cordwood, not dimensional lumber.
Right. Well, isn't it ironic that back in 1986 and 87, you set the standard for the industry with the clean air emissions by bringing out the Avalon 996 with its Air 2 technology that really the rest of the industry copied. And you're resetting today's standards with your next gen technology, again, non-catalytic. You're able to figure all this stuff out without a catalytic converter, just naturally with nothing that people have to maintain or replace. Pretty amazing.
It's kind of our corporate DNA. We have about 30 patents issued to us in the combustion fields alone.
30 patents?
Yep, U.S. foreign patents on how to burn wood cleaner, how to burn pellets cleaner, how to burn gas cleaner. And some are mechanical patents, some utility patents. But we've developed ways to get more energy out of the fuel, whether it's gas or wood. And the thing we want is we want a relaxing fire, we want a beautiful fire, and we want to use whatever fuel you choose, we want to use it efficiently. And we do it in a cabinet that is beautiful to look at.
Yeah.
The fit, the finish, the textures we use are second to none. And that's the stuff that really makes an appliance a feature in a home. That it's not just engineered well, it's designed with fit, finish, symmetry, proportionality in mind, where these are beautiful appliances as well as works of engineering.
And the way you do that is by making all these parts yourself. So again, I've been at your factory and I saw a plasma cutter that takes a sheet of 4x8 metal and automatically programs into it what parts it needs to cut out that piece of metal so the scrap comes out in the shape of a softball out of a 4x8 sheet of metal. It's It's an amazing, amazing piece of technology to watch.
Well, we use lots of technology. We have machining centers, CNC, which are computer numerically controlled machining centers. We have fiber optics lasers. We have plasma. We have these big stamping presses. So we use certain technologies to get the best part at the lowest cost. How do we create these wonderful products and make them cost effective so people can afford them? And we also use the best materials. We've used US steel only for the last decade. So we source everything we can in America, and we use Europe quite a bit. There's some products we get out of Europe. But this is an American-made product, and boy, we really spec right down to hardware. Where's it all coming from? So again, right now we're scheduling 35,000 functions a day in the factory to build the stoves. We're at full production again, and to build the stoves we build, we're selling about, there's about 6,000 fireplaces go out of this factory on average every month. And that requires about 35,000 parts a day. Different forms, different bends, different holes, different sub-assemblies, different models going down the assembly lines. It's real fun because it looks automatic as you witness this, but there's 100 corrections as we go along. The fit and finish and everything, people are making adjustments. And again, everything's hand fit and hand finished as it goes through the plant.
And I remember it was 20 some odd years ago you moved into this new factory, and it was so large, I remember being there, you looked around and said, what am I going to do with all this space? And when I was there last year, it's like, we need more space. You have there's another factory next to you that's 9 acres, right next that right now you rent to Boeing aircraft?
We bought both buildings, so there's 1 million square feet of space here. We used the larger of the 2 buildings. We bought the complex from Boeing, and we leased the one back to Boeing. So Boeing uses the smaller of the 2 buildings, and I know, we're their landlord. It's a great tenant. It's a great neighbor, great tenant. But I'm trying to make this efficient. 11 acres, I want to make sure we're using every square inch of 11 acres before I have any designs to take another building. So we've got, again, a lot of things happening. Raw material comes in one end, and the flow is constant. Every time the material flows, we add value to it. We add something of value. We're not just moving equipment around. We're not just moving material around. It's going in a process where you're adding to it. And at that end of the building, here comes the stoves. And we've got a shuttle that takes all the stoves down to finished inventory. All the loading docks are down there. And it's a cycle of raw material in and finished goods out. This time of year, we'll have about 10,000 stoves in inventory, a selection of all the different models we have. And that's what it takes to serve. We serve Australia, Canada, and the United States. There's about 800 stores now on the network.
And the thing that I find interesting, I've been to your factory maybe 7, 8 times now since you've moved in, and you keep finding ways to make it even better. A lot of people in your position say, okay, I've kind of reached the top. I can't get any better, but your company, everybody in your company says, how can I get better? And I noticed that to increase your traffic flow of stoves through your assembly line, you now have people in there that work for major car companies to reset up your line because that wasn't good enough before. And I'm saying, how could you made it even better? It's incredible.
We attracted a guy from the Tesla car company. He was a production engineer, and over a 2-year period, he dropped our direct labor and assembly 15%. That's huge. And it's just by having, there was a thing called the paper lantern. It was a system designed by Toyota in the automobile manufacturing. And it's spread out all over the world. Most automotive plants use a version of that particular strategy. He understood it real well, and he took it from the Tesla plant, applied it here in our fabrication flow. So from raw material through the fabrication into the sub-assemblies and assemblies, we're able to drop that labor quite a bit. What that gives us the ability to do we're able to pay more for labor. So it flows to everybody. Everyone's doing better and better as we get more efficient.
So one of the things that, again, has been difficult for you because you're in the technology corner of the world, in order to run those types of machines, you need good people. Not just anybody can run these machines. So you have to pay a little bit more. And I understand you're competing with Microsoft and Boeing and all these other high-tech companies. So hats off to you, because you mentioned to me before this COVID, you had how many people ended up coming back to your company than left?
Our governor did determine we're an essential manufacturer, meaning we had permission to keep working. And to try to help break up the spread of COVID, I shut it down for 3 weeks. So, okay, guys, let's take a break. Let's reconfigure some of the spaces in the factory that are a little tight. We want to have social distancing. And so we took the 3 weeks to reconfigure things in the plant and come up with a new hygiene strategy. For example, all the faucets, there's got to be 50 faucets in this factory. They're all no touch. All the doorways, we have privacy screens as you walk in the door, rather than open a door, rather than have people contacting doors. And we hired a crew of people to go through anything that might be touched in this factory gets cleaned twice a day. We take everyone's temperature twice a day. I'm not wearing a mask here because there's no one around me, but all of us here wear masks all day long. When you come in the building, you got a mask on. So we're doing everything we can. And what's interesting, we did shut down for 3 weeks, as you talked about, but we had out of 560 people, we had 552 come back in the door. Our people love what they do. They love working, and we have very little turnover. Very little turnover. These people make careers out of making fireplaces and stoves and inserts. They become stove builders, and damn proud of it.
Well, that's a compliment to everybody in there, and you wonder why we try to imitate your company. I mean, why wouldn't we? That's just an incredible ratio to have that many people who like their job every day, and what a great thing that is anyway, to like what you're doing, and there's nothing like having that passion.
One of our basic beliefs is that, man, we got a lot of smart people. And we got a wonderful part of the world where it's attracted, the Northwest is attracted a lot of people that have got a lot of ability, a lot of intellect. And so we got to attract them to our company. But then we got to give them the freedom to use their brains and contribute. I've always thought, man, I got a really good guy, say, running the engineering department. But if we can get all 15 engineers free to think, they're not being told what to do. And then you take that and you expand it to the guys that are in the research part of it. And you go to the factory, you go, what do you think? And you get 900 people, you get the dealers like yourself. How would you like to see this? All of a sudden, we've got 2,000 people sharing ideas about how to improve the business model, how to improve the products. Then you can't stop that. That's unstoppable.
And it's something about your gas products, a little story I want to share with you. Again, the technology I have behind me is over 16 years old, longer than that. But your new models, like what you have in your 616 gas insert, the fire is so realistic. We had a lady walk in one day saying the fire was already gone. And she says, I'm looking for a gas burner to put into my fireplace, my existing fireplace. So Chris started showing her our array of inserts. And again, the 616, your new one, was actually operating. And as he's talking to her, explaining to her, I was in the background. I like listening to my people. And all of a sudden, about 5 minutes into his conversation, she said, that's great, but I came in here for a gas insert. And he says, that's right. And she said, why are you showing me a wood insert? That's wood burning in there. And no, ma'am, that's actually gas. He had to turn the remote on and off, turn the flame on and off, because she said, no, that's a wood burner. That's wood burning in there. Look at that flame. And she was astounded. That's my point about a lot of people just don't realize how special these products are that are available today. And they're American made.
We agonize over that. We agonize over the details. How can we make this? an experience that's authentic. So our gas products are amazing. Are amazing. Again, the efficiency is great, so you're getting your bang for your buck as you use either propane or natural gas. But the presentation of the fire is outstanding. And here's a funny story. I had one of our wood-burning fireplaces next to our gas-burning fireplaces, and I'm checking it. I'm just doing an aesthetic check, looking at the ember colors, looking at the flame tips, looking at how the flames are interacting with ceramic logs at one point and real logs on the other. And I'm going, oh my God, look at those real wood logs. They're so ugly, I would never put them in a gas stove. We don't select cordwood for its beauty. We just put our cordwood in our stoves. And when we do a gas stove, I have an artist on staff here. He's a sculptor. He sculpts and he designs the gas logs that are going to live in our gas fireplaces. And we do it with an aesthetic in mind. We want the most beautiful log that is going to be there. And so we want it interacting with the flame. We want beautiful pieces of wood. And aesthetically, we want the logs to look balanced to each other. And you don't do that, of course, when you're burning wood. So the gas logs have a presentation that's just amazing. And what you've told about your consumer is not uncommon. People look at these things and they can't pick out the wood burner from the gas burner in the showroom. We've had that with over and over again over the years. And that's something we love to see happen.
Well, you did that in New York at Tavern on the Green, I believe, years ago, with technology that I have right behind me.
Popular Science magazine gave us an award for our gas burner. And it was so realistic, but it was so efficient, and it didn't have blue flame technology like furnaces do or your gas range does. We had yellow flame technology that broke into the high 70s, low 80s, and you couldn't discern it from a wood-burning fireplace. They gave us an award for one of the top 100 improvements or product improvements in the world. We won the home improvement category with our Ember Fire burners, and that continues to this day. We have different versions of it. We keep modifying or tweaking it, and it gets more and more realistic as the years go on. So yeah, we've gotten lots of accreditation over time, lots of recognition in our industry. I know, Dean, your store is won Retailer of the Year in the entire United States. How many times?
Who would imagine? Now that study, that you had 100 manufacturers in that Popular Science study. There were people like Dell Computer, Boeing Aircraft. I mean, you put out some
that won award for Popular Science. We were there with General Electric. We were there with companies from Germany. We were there with Boeing. So the top 100 products of the year, we were one of the top 100 products in the world, from aviation, from medical, from automotive. And what's funny, we had our booth. I guess in hindsight, we didn't have our booth located exactly where they wanted us. And another vendor came in and said, hey, you guys are in our space, you gotta move 6 feet. And I said, hey, it's New York City, man, you snooze, you lose. Preston's in 15 minutes, you gotta find another place, get going, come on. We're staying right here. And it was NASA. We gave NASA the bum's rush. So you guys go down the hall there, we're busy. But anyway, we've gotten lots of awards. You've gotten lots of awards for your retail expertise. Our products have won many awards within the industry, within design competitions. Even that science magazine, Popular Science, gave us an award for that, for our gas technology. So it's been real exciting to get the recognition. But where it comes down to it, Dean, it's, are we making people happy? Do people love their stove? That's the bottom line. So all the patents, all the awards in the world don't mean anything if people aren't happy. So we see this people loving their product, and it makes a big difference in living in their home space. That's where the rubber meets the road for us.
Well, it's a real testament to you and your entire company to keep that passion after 41 years. I know I still have it. I still love fire. It's something that's in our blood, right? But it's also, again, stressing. I can't stress enough how good it is to sell products from a company with the consumer in mind and something that is so American made like that. I think bringing that American pride back into life, into the American way of life is just a fantastic feat.
That's what's so much fun is that we're doing something, we've been working with fire, and it's a gathering place, it's a central place for the home. And fire's been with mankind from the beginning. We harnessed fire tens of thousands of years ago, and it's been our friend. It's given us comfort, it's given us heat, it's given us even romance. It's given us these gathering places for music, for food, for just great conversations. So here we are today, the modern cavemen, Dean, that's all we are.
So I think if people want to take the trip, if they really find out, they can fly all the way to the other end of the country to Travis Industries and have a tour, or they can see over 75 of your products here at our shop here in Plantsville, where we, again, so many of them are operating, and there's nothing like comparing a product online, something that's operating rather than just comparing information that you get online, which is usually wrong anyway.
You bet. You bet. So much of what we design into the fireplaces has got to be experienced. That's why the way you do your store is so critical. And that's why so many people trust you guys and buy from you, because you understand the value in having these units operational so people can experience the heaters. You've done it better than anybody.
Well, in order to install it, in order to service it, we want products that aren't going to break down. With 40 years worth of customers, with over 40,000 customers in that time, we need durable products that have that reliability and that dependability factor. For instance, your gas products are furnace rated, right? Furnace rating, you don't have to be, but having that furnace rating gives it that reliability that others don't necessarily have to have, because you can rely on it as a source of heat, even though you're getting it you may get it for aesthetic reasons. Having that furnace rating on it, which you don't have to do, gives the person that peace of mind that that unit is not going to have the breakdowns that others can possibly have.
If you think of the words commercial grade, everything we build is commercial grade products, okay? And a very common comment we get when people file a warranty card, they buy a new appliance, they file, they register the warranty. So many of the comments we get is, I didn't expect my furnace not to come on. I didn't think it'd get as much heat or be as well distributed as it is. So we get a lot of people that don't buy and think they're going to heat their whole house and end up their furnace doesn't come on for 6 weeks because they're using the fireplace. That's a very common comment.
I'll attest to that. I mean, my wood-burning Fireplace Xtrordinair, I like to tell people all the time, that's what bought my GMC Denali pickup, just by the oil that I saved. And it's so quiet because this positive pressure is something that I kind of want to get into. You decided you have a fan that is located outside the home, bringing outside air, 400 cubic feet of outside air every minute coming into someone's home. Now that is enough to replace all the air in a 2,000 square foot, basic 2,000 square foot house every 40 minutes. That's one healthy fireplace, never mind what it's going to heat.
Yeah, you mentioned that's called our positive pressure. And positive pressure is doing exactly that. It's taking outside air, heating it up, circulating it throughout the home. And you get this positive pressure within the home, and your heated air is going to go to the lowest pressure point. So if there is a crack around the door or the window, it's going to keep the cold air from coming in the house. You get a positive pressure in the home of fresh air continually. I have that fireplace in my home here in Seattle, and I found it did the best job of any of the wood heaters of actually moving the heat throughout the home. That you're bringing in a continual supply of outside air, heating it, and putting it into the home environment. So that positive pressure, just one of the many products we manufacture, but gosh, does that work great.
So if people have old windows like I did when I moved in to my place, most of it was built in the 1950s and had huge windows. Some of them are 25, 30 feet of glass. That once you have that positive pressure, you could sit right underneath it with that window to your back within inches. With it 0 degrees outside, you can't feel that cold air. And it's all due to that positive pressure. And again, I have to bring that up because a lot of people don't realize that this type of a product exists. And you've been making this since the early 1990s, correct?
Yeah, we've been using that concept on different heaters for quite a while. So we have positive pressure, we use convection, natural convection. So as a lot of our heaters have a convection chamber around them, so as the air heats up, as that appliance heats up, air rises and it comes out the front, the upper registers on the front of an insert or a fireplace, for example, and it replaces it, takes cooler, lower air in the room and circulates it naturally around those appliances. So there's radiant energy. Some of our units have great radiant surface like the cast iron stoves or the steel stoves. Other ones we are built flush into the wall, but we have that chamber built in it. The positive pressure requires a fan, but it's the most efficient. So you have positive pressure, you have convection, you have radiant energy. All that's working silently to heat a home.
Which is true, right? With that, now that size fan is about 3 times larger than what you would normally have in a wood stove, but you can't hear it when it's on. Many times people be in my store, and while I'm talking to them, I'll be starting that Elite, and after 20, 25 minutes into the conversation, the fan comes on and they don't even know it because you can't hear it. Plus the fact that you also do extensive safety training, testing rather, on your product so that you can put that big of a fireplace, a wood burning fireplace, into wood studs, into a regular structure that these normal, what they call condo boxes would have. So, and again, the specifications that you have can pretty much take that out. We rip those out of houses and replace them and put yours right in. It can even use the same chimney if it's in good shape.
It's become a very popular thing as people realize it's available. You can take a metal fireplace, the existing metal fireplace in your home today, and like Dean can come in, remove it, and put an efficient modern appliance in that same space. That's right. Been something that, as people realize that's available, we're getting a lot of people going, get this out of here, get me something beautiful, get me something that really eats. And that's been a real surprise to consumers, and that's something you guys have done a great job with.
Yeah, well, it's, again, people who have those kinds of fireplaces have come into our store, and when that 44 Elite is lit, they come in and say, I want to put that fire in my fireplace. And after finding out it's one of those tin steel fireplaces, we say, boy, if I ever put that much heat in your fireplace, it would melt. It can't happen. It's an entirely different unit. So again, it's technology a lot of people don't know about, and that's why we invite them into our store where we can better explain these products for them, what they can do. And like I said, they pay for themselves anyway. What product does that, right?
As well as the enjoyment, yeah, you're saving money.
That's right. Nothing better.
Dean, I got a phone call coming into the office, and my receptionist goes, you want to call this guy back. So I look at it, and it's this message from a gentleman in Ohio. He's 91 years old, and he wanted to call me to tell me, I'm reading the note, this is the best investment he's ever made in his life. That's a pretty long life. I had to call the guy back. And I talked to him for about probably half an hour. He bought one of our cast iron wood burning stoves, and he felt it was the best investment he's ever made. And he told me how cold it's been over the last 3 years. He's had the product for 3 years, and he was just motivated to call, and he saw my name in one of the his owner's manual. So he called and asked for me. He wanted to let me know how happy he was with his new. Well, he'd owned it for 3 years already. But that's the kind of stuff that really, as a designer, as the guy that runs our product development still, it makes your day. It makes your month, in fact, when someone calls and tells you how this has improved their home or their comfort in their home. Great interaction.
Most definite. I have to agree 100% with you on that one, Kurt. Really, really do. So I take it after 41 years, after listening to you, there's still a little bit of passion inside of you. It doesn't appear Travis Industries is going to be around for quite some time.
We got more ideas than time. It's like one of the things we're doing, Dean, we're going to be sharing with you in the next month. And here it is. We're talking, it's early June 2020. And we've got these killer outdoor fireplaces that we're going to be sharing with you in the next 6 weeks. So we got all these wonderful things for inside the home. We've got, behind me, for example, is a linear fireplace. We just completed an installation of one of these fireplaces, and this architect wanted the world's largest fireplace. We built them a fireplace 66 feet long and 20 inches tall. It was a wall of fire. They wanted it. They wanted to make a statement. Man, did they make a statement. That's quite unusual for us, but we got these outdoor fireplaces we're doing now. They're all stainless steel, and you can put them in a patio, on a wood deck, or out in an open space, and just have them open to the environment, but have a gathering spot outside as well. So that would be fun as we move all of our technology into the great outdoors. We've been working with the great indoors for 40 years, and now we're taking all that knowledge with the TempestTorch and these fireplaces. We've got a whole new line of products we're coming out. We call it the Fire Garden.
So if it's anything like the products that I saw there last year, the outdoor products, the prototypes, there is nothing like that. And all the fire pits, all the other manufacturers, I can tell you, being in this business for this long, there's nothing else on the market that could even comes close to what I saw last year. And if you're telling me now you're coming out and you even refine that, I don't know how you had the time, seeing that you just redid your entire wood stove line within the last year, right, with this next gen technology, with these new EPA rules, and you have the largest range, the largest variety of EPA approved wood burners of anybody else in the entire industry. And now you're telling me that you're coming out with outdoor products as well. Oh, it's incredible. I can't wait.
And again, like everything else, they're built to last. Man, if you like fire, you're going to see a phenomenal fire. I can't stand these little weenie flames. Oh, yeah. I can't stand these things. It looks like a little Bic lighter. You want to sit by a fire, okay? And so we want to use the energy wisely, but we still have to have a fire, for heaven's sakes. So we've got some outdoor products that your customers are going to love. They're going to see a fire, and they're going to call their friends over. Come on over to my place. I got something I want to share with you. It's a new fireplace. We're calling these fireplaces, these outdoor products, we're calling it the Fire Garden. And we'll have torches, fire pits, tables, fireplaces, and we start 6 weeks from now.
Wow. I can't wait, Kurt.
Yeah,
and
excited.
Again, I want to thank you again for your time, and again, say hello to your entire staff. They really are great people. I know them all, and I wish we could have seen them in person this past spring. But an incredible company. I want to tell all the people that are eventually going to see this, whatever portions of this, that again, I can't tell you how happy my staff, my entire staff, is to have a company like Travis Industries behind us with that American passion and technology. Thank you very much, Kurt, and thank everyone there.
Thank you so much for doing all you do, because, man, you make this fun. You make it fun, and I love hearing from your customers. You guys do such a great job. So I'll be talking to you soon, and it's always great to talk to you, Dean.
Okay, you bet. Have a great one. Take care.